Welcome back to Take the Leap Management, the podcast where we explore tools and strategies for impactful leadership, project management, and sustainable growth. Today, we're continuing our series on sustainable project portfolio management with a deep dive into a powerful concept that shapes sustainable decision making: the triple bottom line. The triple bottom line, often referred to as TBL, encourages us to look at three pillars in our decision making: people, planet, and profit. It's a shift from focusing on financial gain alone to thinking about long-term value for society and the environment as well. So, what exactly is the triple bottom line, and why is it so important in the context of project portfolio management? At its core, the triple bottom line is a framework for understanding that true success means more than just making a profit. It means contributing to the well-being of people, minimizing our impact on the planet, and still achieving financial viability. In essence, TBL is a call to broaden our understanding of value and responsibility by recognizing that the long-term health of any organization is tied to its impact on society and the environment. Let's start with the people aspect of TBL. This pillar reminds us that the decisions we make in project and portfolio management have real impacts on individuals and communities. For instance, let's say you're managing a construction portfolio with projects in various communities. Beyond delivering profitable results, TBL asks, are these projects benefiting the communities in which they operate? Are they creating jobs, enhancing local infrastructure, or improving quality of life? Or, conversely, are they creating disruptions or environmental concerns for residents? When we integrate the people aspect into project portfolio management, we start to ask questions like, how do these projects affect employees, suppliers, and stakeholders? Are we providing safe and fair working conditions, supporting workforce development, or encouraging diversity? For example, if you're overseeing a technology project that requires specific technical skills, consider if there's an opportunity to upskill local workers or invest in workforce development programs. This is about recognizing that sustainable growth comes from empowering people, creating value for them as much as we do for the organization. The planet pillar of TBL encourages us to think about the environmental impact of our projects. Every project in some way affects natural resources, energy consumption, and waste generation. For instance, if you're managing a portfolio of manufacturing projects, TBL pushes you to think about minimizing pollution, reducing energy usage, and sourcing materials responsibly. Consider, for example, whether a project can use renewable energy or recycle waste materials. Or if you're working in software, think about the energy consumption of data centers and the potential for optimizing resources in a way that lessens your carbon footprint. Sustainability in project portfolios means planning with these environmental impacts in mind and creating strategies to mitigate negative effects. Now let's look at the profit pillar. Financial viability is of course critical. No project or portfolio can sustain itself without generating returns. But under TBL, profit isn't just about maximizing financial returns in the short term. It's about understanding that sustainable financial growth often comes from projects that are aligned with ethical practices, social impact, and environmental stewardship. Projects that align with TBL principles can actually build stronger, more resilient organizations. Consumers today are increasingly aware of and drawn to brands that prioritize sustainability, which can result in higher long-term profitability and a better brand reputation. Sustainable practices can also lead to cost savings over time by reducing waste, improving resource efficiency, and avoiding regulatory penalties related to environmental impact. So, with this foundation in place, how do we apply the triple bottom line in portfolio level decisions? Let's walk through a few examples. Say you're managing a healthcare portfolio with a range of projects. Some involve developing new facilities, others are aimed at improving patient services, and a few focus on internal process improvements. Traditionally, you might prioritize projects based on profitability and risk. But with TBL, you'll want to balance these with questions like, will these projects improve patient access to healthcare? Do they minimize environmental impact, such as energy use in new facilities? How do they affect the well-being of employees and the local community? In a practical sense, tools and frameworks can support TBL-centered decisions. One approach is using weighted scoring models that incorporate TBL criteria. You might create a scorecard that rates each project on financial, social, and environmental factors. A new hospital facility project, for example, might score high on social impact if it improves healthcare access in underserved areas, and it could score well on environmental impact if it incorporates energy-efficient designs or renewable energy sources. Financial profitability would still be a consideration, but the decision-making process would be holistic, assessing each project from a TBL perspective, rather than solely from a financial standpoint. Another useful tool in integrating TBL is the impact assessment matrix, which helps visualize the social, environmental, and financial impacts of various projects across the portfolio. You could place each project within this matrix to gauge how it aligns with TBL objectives. For instance, a high-impact environmental project, like switching to renewable energy sources for data centers, might score well on environmental and social benefits. By mapping projects this way, you're better able to see how they contribute to TBL goals and make balanced decisions across your portfolio. Now, let's talk about some of the challenges. One of the main difficulties in applying TBL is that not all benefits are immediately measurable. Social and environmental impacts often take longer to materialize, making it hard to assess the return on investment in the short term. Let's take a project focused on reducing single-use plastics within a company's supply chain. The immediate costs might be higher, but the long-term environmental benefits are substantial, and there might be cost savings down the line as well. This is where TBL requires a mindset shift, seeing the value in long-term benefits rather than focusing exclusively on short-term financial returns. It's about understanding that what's good for people and the planet can also be good for profit, but it might not show up on the balance sheet right away. Another challenge is changing organizational culture. Organizations are often structured with profit-driven KPIs, and the shift to TBL means re-evaluating how success is defined. Teams accustomed to focusing on financial metrics alone may need training or support to adopt a TBL approach. This might involve introducing new KPIs that measure social and environmental impact, or educating teams on the broader benefits of sustainable practices. For instance, including metrics like carbon footprint reduction, diversity and inclusion progress, or community impact scores can help align teams with TBL values. This approach requires commitment from leadership and clear communication to build a culture that values long-term, holistic impact over short-term gains. The final piece of the TBL puzzle is transparency and reporting. To truly incorporate TBL, organizations need to communicate their progress to stakeholders. For example, many companies are now using sustainability reports aligned with frameworks like the Global Reporting Initiative, GRI, or the UN Sustainable Development Goals and SDGs. These reports highlight the impact of projects and portfolios on social, environmental, and financial levels. Reporting serves two purposes. It demonstrates accountability to stakeholders and provides data that can guide future TBL-aligned decisions. For instance, if an annual report shows a reduction in carbon emissions across the portfolio, it reinforces the organization's commitment to environmental responsibility and builds trust with stakeholders who value sustainability. To wrap up today's episode, let's reflect on why the triple bottom line is so crucial to sustainable project portfolio management. TBL helps organizations create a balanced approach that prioritizes the well-being of people, the health of the planet, and long-term profitability. By integrating TBL into project selection, prioritization, and evaluation, organizations can create portfolios that don't just generate financial returns, but also drive a positive social and environmental impact. It's a win-win approach, one that doesn't sacrifice profit for principles, but instead shows that they can coexist to create a more resilient and responsible organization. Thank you for joining us on Take the Leap Management today. I hope this episode has given you insight into how the triple bottom line can shape sustainable project portfolio management and how you can begin applying it to your own decision-making processes. In our next episode, we'll go even deeper and explore how to integrate sustainability goals with overall business strategy, ensuring that sustainability is at the heart of every decision. If you found this episode valuable, be sure to subscribe, share it with colleagues, and keep tuning in for more insights on building a more sustainable future through responsible project management. Until next time, keep your sights set on long-term impact and keep taking the leap.